Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us on stage, and thank you for being with us this morning. And I am very privileged to have the opportunity to talk to you. I'm sure we're all going to yet again take another pearl of wisdom back home. Look, Mr. Paris, it's amazing. They're all filming it as we speak. We better behave. Let's start with the special nature of this venue. I think in a way is kind of a haven in Israel. If you look at the staff working here, almost a third are Arabs, nurses and doctors alike, more than the representation in the population. If you look at the patients receiving care, and I'm not sure you all know, but during the last recent years in the civil war in Syria, over 100 wounded Syrians have received treatment here in Rambam Center. This was your life vision and mission, to make what happens here in Rambam possible in Israel. Are you still optimistic it's possible, or Rambam will stay an utopia?
If Rav Litzman will remain, I'm still optimistic. I want to say, since the Rambam, it's 800 years, and I couldn't think of a better continuer of the work of Rambam than Rav Litzman. A Rav, almost a professor, who is really doing for health such a great thing. But to answer your question, you know, yesterday I read it with mixed feeling that the Secretary General of the United Nations excluded Israel from the countries being accused treating the children in the wrong way. I was insulted. Not only the most beautiful building here is the hospital for children. And we save children, whether they are Jews or Arab, doesn't matter. Then, you know, we had a plan which is called Save the Children. I didn't speak much about it, but now it's time to say. We saved 10,500 Palestinian children. We brought them here to our hospitals with their mothers, and all of them went back. We didn't publicize it because we were worried that people will say it's for publicity. It started when we discovered that 2,000 children, Palestinians, were wounded in the Intifada, and they didn't have neither health insurance nor hospitals. So we decided to bring all the 2,000 children with their mothers to our hospitals in Jerusalem, in Rambam as well, and all of them, without exception, were cured. Then once we did that, other Palestinians turned to us and said, look, my child wasn't wounded at the war, but he suffers from sickness. Please continue. We continued, and the record today is 10,500 children. A child costs something like, to cure a child, $10,000, so we collected $100 million to bring them on. And then, when this was over, they turned to us and asked, we have children who are suffering from cancer. Please help us. Well, we checked. To cure a cancer costs $70,000. We said we don't have that money, we cannot collect it. But we suggested that they will send to Israel Palestinian doctors, and here in our hospitals, they'll be trained and handle cancer. Right now, we have in Israel 180 Palestinian doctors who study here how to cure cancer. Now, I think in our hospitals that I have to add, there is only place in Israel where you have full peace. You enter a hospital, you don't know who is the doctor and who is the patient. The patient may be Jewish and the doctor Arabic, and vice versa. In the hospital, it's complete peace. You don't ask neither for the nationality nor for anything else. I don't know why once they leave the hospitals, they become sick. But in the hospitals, there is a real peace, a real peace. The behavior of the nurses and the doctors.
So that is the question. Do you think, why do you think what happens in the hospital doesn't happen outside?
Well, because doctors is a mission, not a vocation. A doctor feels like the Rambam. Now, the Rambam said that the attitude to medicine is in real terms the attitude to life. If you respect life, you have to respect the health. But I want to say something else about the state of health in Israel. First of all, we are before and immediately after the state was born, medical help and assistance and check was offered to every person in this country without any exception. And furthermore, I do believe that medicine, health, will play a major role in building peace in the Middle East. You know, if I buy a bottle of water, I'm not interested to produce the bottle. But if I'm buying a medicine, and if a doctor treats me, I shall never forget it. Neither the doctor nor the medicine. So real human relations are being built at the hospital. And now with the fantastic advancement, the technological advancement, not only with the cancer story, it will really spread. Science does not have borders. Science does not recognize differences. You know, in a global world, democracy is a different thing already. Democracy is not just the right to be equal, but the equal right to be different. Every person has equal right to be different. Difference is not a sin, is not an insult. And the two principles of our life today is equality and difference. Because overcoming the cancer, you know, cancer is individual. That was why it was so difficult to overcome it. And every individual is different, like every cancer is different. But the difference is today a common denominator. And I'm sure the Rav and the head of the hospital, they see themselves as messengers of humanity. And now you can spread health and offer health not by doing it just personally. You can do it through the internet to check persons from a distance. And also the medicine, I mean, you said very, very rightly that we have distance medicine as well. And now the new technology of medicine has two elements which are very important. In order to discover maladies ahead of time, and the earlier you discover, the better chances to overcome it. You can make from the dress actually a solo hospital, almost a hospital. You can hang on your dress the machinery which is necessary to check your heart, to check your blood pressure, and so on. And more, the dresses of the human being will include a medical checkup. There are already terraces and be it other elements that you can check it. And you can, by the broadband, which is included now in Israel, to really have checkups at any distance possible. I think already many Arabs, what I told, they know it. They know it. Medicine makes friends. Medicine gives hope for all of us. And for that reason, sincerely, not because I'm speaking here, I believe that the best foreign policy of Israel is to hang on medicine, to help our neighbors. There are stories which are moving. A few days ago, a child, almost paralyzed, was brought here from Syria. It looked like he's hopeless. His life was saved. The story was told all over Syria. I can't describe the reaction to it. So I mean, this is, if you want, a pioneer of peace. And in our hospitals, among ourselves, and the Rambam, to the Rambam I have to add another thing. In addition to all what I said, Rambam is one of the hospitals that saved many of our own soldiers that were wounded, and they brought here in a terrible shape. I think there was no other hospitals in the world that saved so many soldiers that were seriously wounded. They saved their life. And we are very proud that we can tell our soldiers, you have here the doctors that will do whatever humanly possible to bring them back to life. Look, it's so I say, when say Israel is not handling children, my God, what a shame, what a misspelling. And I really want that we shall, it's not hasbara. This is a mission, and this is a mitzvah, both. And Rambam is excellent in the two tests, to cure people and to advance medicine. It's also a great research center, Rambam, and the best place to research medicine is at the hospital. So really it's one of the things that moves me to my bones, and we are continuing to do it, and we shall continue to do it. We are now trying to make Israel. There is now smart homes and safe homes. We would like to build in Israel homes which are safe and secure. Also from the point of view of hygiene, from the point of view of prevention of sickness, and we have a real agenda before us. And we should do whatever we can to express it properly.
You know, President Peres, it's always amazing to speak to you. You're always the man of tomorrow. You're always telling us what tomorrow will look like, wearable gadgets and whatever. But I want to ask you, if you may, because I think you touched upon borders and you touched upon security. And we would like to utilize your experience and your vision, because Rambam is also synonymous, as you said, with security challenges. It has, in a way, to be in the forefront of medicine and in the frontier. And then you were just down in the fortified emergency hospital, the largest and most advanced in the world. And I think, in the bottom of our hearts, we all know it's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if we're going to use it, it's a matter of when this hospital will be put in use. Do you agree that there still is a looming danger here in Rambam? And what do you see for the region in the coming years?
I see now, without going into the daily politics of Israel, I see that we live in a transitional period. There are two major forces, one trying to bring us back, and the other pushing us to go ahead. The IC or the Al-Qaeda, or even what the Turks want and the Iranian want, is to go back to the time of the sultans, to the time of the Caliphate, to the time of lack for human respect. And they are quite successful, I must say. They speak to the hearts of young people. I ask myself, why is the young people going in and joining in? The reason is because they are being told the totality of their concept, namely cut ahead and save the world. They believe in it. And there is no good answer until now. But then there is also forces that are moving ahead. In the Middle East, there are 400 million people, basically Arabs. But among them, 60% are below the age of 25. They are the future. I do not believe in the Muslim brotherhoods because what they are doing, in my judgment, is not religious, but anti-humane. If you discriminate women, the country will never recover. If you discriminate women, you are just half a nation. If you discriminate women, the mother will not be educated and she will not educate the children and they will be born to ignorance and poverty. But the young people, the ones below the age of 25, are available for a different world. You know, Harari, who just published a second book, says that the historians tried to understand the past with the hope they can learn something from the past. Now they discover there is nothing to learn from the past, but one thing, how to get rid of it. Because the past is a stumbling block, seeing the new opportunities, seeing a world without borders. By the way, the only borders I know are intellectual or religious borders. Physical borders there will never be again because science does not have borders. And also I think wars will not be again because the wars was about land. When we made our living from the land, we went to protect our borders. But science doesn't have borders. There may be and will be violence, which is worse than wars. Wars, you have two camps, one winning, the other is losing. Violence doesn't have any division. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of organizations who are horrible people, head cutters. And it's very hard to overcome them. In terror, you don't win, you don't lose, you just kill. And that is why it's difficult. And that is why all of us, you know, the Arabs know deep in their heart today that their greatest problem is not Israel. Their greatest problem is terror. Israel never destroyed an Arab country. Terror did. Terror did destroy Lebanon and Syria and Iraq and Yemen and Libya, and they are continuing. So I see the young people, the Arab young people and our young people coming together, joined in to fight the enemy who is their enemy, both if they are Arab or Jewish, which is terror that kills life, that pushes again to go back to ignorance, to discrimination, to starvation. You ask me when? It's a process. By the way, and that's why for me the Rambam is a model, I do not believe that there can be technology without morality. Technology does not take sides. If you have a modern instrument, it can serve the evil like an honest man. It doesn't care. It's the human being who decides how to use the offers of new technology. And for that reason I insist, and I'm thinking it all over the places, don't teach technology without teaching morality. Technology alone may be a danger. And I hope, really, Israel is great. You know, when I think about Israel, we made two mistakes. I'm looking back. One mistake was the dream to build Israel at the time was considered great. Now when I look back, the dream was too small. We could have had a better dream. Then we didn't understand that the implementation of the dream will be by far greater than our dreams. Now that we know that you shouldn't dream small, but you should dream great, and the implementation can be in accordance with the dream, I shall remain in the camp of dreamers, in the camp of hope, not in the camp of fear. The world is full of fear. This doesn't mean that the leaders should be fearful. To lead is to lead in the way of hope. We have to keep our identity as a people, that the moral call is the most important one. We have the 10 Commandments, but we have to look at the world as Jewish tradition calls for, tikkun olam, to repay the world all over.
President Peres, thank you so much. And I want to tell you, I've heard you so many times, and there's one sentence I have already, I always give you credit, but I think it's the best way to finish our conversation. You say that pessimists and optimists die the same but live differently, and it's better to live as an optimist, and I think we have the proof here. Thank you so much, President Peres. Thank you.
Well, I'm afraid that this advice is already misused, so I have another advice. If somebody wants to feel young, I would offer him the following thing. Count the achievements you have achieved in your life and count the dreams you have in your brain. If the number of the dreams exceeds the number of achievements, you are young.
Mr. President, I want to tell you that there was a ceremony in my kids' school, and they stood on stage and they gave this pearl of wisdom, and they said, this is what we have learned from President Peres. So your wisdom is spreading about, so thank you again.